So do you continue to hold them behind bars while you mount another case? Do you drag your feet pretending you didn't hear what the Privy Council said? Or do you treat it as an expedited case, just as the Privy Council, which is the highest court in the land, has treated it? Remember, alright, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. You know, I was listening. One thing I've never tried to do is try to pretend that I know everything. But one thing I do is read a lot. I read a lot. I don't just listen. I read a lot, and I also listen to the right people. People who are trained in certain fields and have expertise, information that I might not have. For instance, I am no trained attorney, but I listen to the trained attorneys before I speak. And I weigh my information on credible sources only, not vloggers and people who have something to say, right? Now, there was an option I was about to discuss. The fourth option that nobody talked about, and it was called the provisor. And I was super worried about them using the provisor in Vybz Kartel, them Shawn Storm, them case, right? The provisor would have allowed the courts to say, even though we find that mistakes were made, the evidence was just so overwhelming that we'll just have to uphold the conviction and they'll have to keep on serving their time. Damn, I'm happy they did not use the provisor. And I was very worried about it this morning while I was going to make this video. Now, here is what is happening up to date. And that's our job, is to keep the people up to date, right? And shout out to the Jamaica Gleaner and Jamaica Star and Loop News and all the other news entities out of Jamaica. They surely do help, because a foreign we there. So we have to compile, put together, compare information, and go with the most credible pieces of information. And that's how we gather our sources and bring it to our audience. That's what we do, okay? Now, Isaac Buchanan has said that he will be seeking bail immediately for Vybz Kartel. So has Shawn Storm's attorneys. They'll be seeking bail immediately for the men. Now, with Thursday's ruling by the Judiciary Committee of the UK Privy Council that the murder conviction of Vybz Kartel be set aside and the case sent back to the Court of Appeal in Jamaica for a retrial to be considered, the Privy Council is not privy enough to say order a retrial. They sent it back for it to be considered. Should we go with a retrial? Are we able to mount a proper and a strong case again in order to secure a conviction? Or is it wise for us at this point to say, we already got like 12 years going on 13 years out of them incarcerated. At this point, there's too much time lost there. The evidence won't stand up again like it did before, etc. Let's cut our losses at this point. Let's free them and let's keep on moving. I've also heard that Vybz Kartel and the rest of the guys can possibly now mount lawsuits against the system in Jamaica for what was done to them and for the time that they have spent behind bars. Now, that tells me that somebody must be super scared of that part, because when you mount a lawsuit where you're suing for years and years of lost wages at the level of which somebody like a Vybz Kartel earns, you can imagine what the monetary damages might be in that case. And for anybody who is confused, let's put it to you simply like this. These guys are no longer considered to be convicted murderers. Their slates have been wiped clean. They return to being just accused men. That's it. You can accuse somebody, yeah, SouFLo killed the man, but that's it. I'm not convicted. And that's where that Privy Council verdict has returned them to. So get that clear, right? Now, Isaac Buchanan, who we all know is Vybz Kartel's super attorney, I'm going to keep on a big up Isaac, because you can tell when somebody loves law, and you can tell when somebody studies the rotted out of law, and it's just a beauty to see it unfold in a court of law, right? Now, Thursday's ruling by the Judicial Committee of the UK Privy Council sets the conviction aside, which means the men return to being innocent men, and the state or Jamaica's justice system must now prove their case against them or let them go. If they decide that there won't be a retrial. Of course, provisions are within the law that in the case where the conviction is overturned, the appeal courts in Jamaica reserves the right within the law, it says, to decide, do we want to try this case again? Is it in the best interest of justice, or do we let this go? Isaac Buchanan said, I am 100% sure that I will continue as Vybz Kartel's lawyer, and I am uber confident, he told the Jamaica Gleaner. Isaac Buchanan, however, admitted that he could not predict when Vybz Kartel would be allowed to walk out of prison after 12 years plus behind bars. So for those of you who are asking, SouFlo, when is he coming out? What's the time frame? His own attorney has said he cannot predict exactly when he is coming out. There's a process that has to happen, and they are in the midst of going about that process right now. He said that me, myself, Miss LaBeach, John Clark, his attorneys, we will definitely be seeking bail for him. Buchanan admitted that we await the orders from the courts to be sent to the Court of Appeals, and we will take it from there. I know that the Privy Council acts expeditiously given the fact that it was an expedited hearing. So it was moved up, right? So we will get word from the court. That's all I can say right now. Now, I've said on previous video, I believe if Jamaica's court system is still being malicious in their intent in this case, then they can drag their feet as long as possible and maximize the amount of time that is allowed within the law for them to act. That could be done on purpose. But I have heard the attorneys say, and I myself am saying, this case should be treated as a priority, because think about it. You took it to trial. You made uber mistakes in it, and the end result was you wrongfully convicted a group of guys who've been sitting behind bars for like going on 13 years. So do you continue to hold them behind bars while you mount another case? Do you drag your feet pretending you didn't hear what the Privy Council said? Or do you treat it as an expedited case, just as the Privy Council, which is the highest court in the land, has treated it? Remember, this case was supposed to be called at a later date. This case was moved up because Vybz Kartel attorneys, based on the state of his health, etc., applied for it to be extradited, and that was granted, right? On Thursday, Kartel's judgment spawned headlines across major international networks, not only in Jamaica, but also in the United States of America. Take, for instance, Fox 5 New York with Lisa Evers, and other channels in the United States of America and other countries around the world. At this point, the world is watching to see what exactly it is that Jamaica's court system is going to do. Are they honorable people? Are they people that are able to say, listen, we made a mistake. It was showed up in the Privy Council. Unfortunately, we didn't see it at our level. We accept that now. Here is our apologies, and we will deal with this going forward in a different manner. Or, okay, or are they going to double down and continue to be the way they are about this case, right? Yeah, man, them have TV I watch inside, somebody says. And when the judgment was read, them start bang on the grill them and them shout out, world boss, world boss. That was the sentiment inside of the prison. Yeah, man, this did over there make plenty noise, the source said, who wishes to remain anonymous. Weighing in on the judgment, music marketer and publisher Shawn Contractor Edwards pointed fingers at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, which is the DPP, and said that, I think this weighs heavily on the DPP's office. The DPP has to consider whether Vybz Kartel and his co-accused have served enough time, or go for a costly and a lengthy retrial. I've said this and I'm going to say it again. If the DPP is operating off of ego and pride, then we will see a retrial. And I believe that a retrial will not stand, for the reason that most of the evidence that was used to convict in that court has now been proven to be evidence that cannot stand up or should not have been accepted as evidence in the first place. For instance, we've been saying this for years. The police officer that took the phone from the evidence room, brought it home with him, did a bunch of things with the phone, brought the phone back, put it back in the evidence room, then it was accepted in court as a piece of evidence, a key piece of evidence, and so on and so forth. And the police officer went to court and did tell the judge that he did that. You know, not only that, the forensic expert that flew into Jamaica and inspected that piece of evidence and found it to be heavily tampered with in many other ways. And then, of course, the piece that was shot down at the Privy Council, and so on and so forth. So there's so much here that tells us that a retrial would have to be something out of the ordinary in order for it to stand again. Now, at DPP level, Paula Llewellyn them can actually say, you know, we've gotten our 13 years, we'll take it there and, you know, release them from here. Based on the criteria that Kartel and his co-accused lawyers put in their appeal, I think the verdict was justified. Kartel lawyers showed that there was a breach of Telecommunications Act with the phone evidence, and that a tainted jury should not have been used to give a verdict. So the Privy Council saying the Jamaica courts should consider a retrial is a just verdict. The Privy Council, in their ruling today, explained why the tainted jury goes against Vybz Kartel and his co-accused constitutional rights to a fair trial. And that was that. End of the day, for the people who want to know, this is what it is. There's a process that needs to happen. The process is happening. Just hold tight, all right? I believe that freedom is coming. Even if they decide that they want a retrial, I believe that bail will be granted and Vybz Kartel and the rest of the guys them will be able to walk out of that prison and breathe some fresh air on the outside while they put a new case together, if they decide that they want to try them on a retrial. If they decide there to be no retrial, then it's total freedom. So that's where it's at right now. His team are going after bail, and we will see what happens when bail is granted. Okay, leave it right there, just keeping people a heads up on what's going on, and I'll catch you on the next video. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Do you think bail will be granted? Do you think bail will be denied? Do you think they will keep these guys behind bars while they plan or put together a case for a retrial? Please remember though, that could mount to unconstitutional behavior as well. That's like kidnapping the men and holding them hostage for however long, until, oh, I'm going to just hold you in prison until I figure it out. Under the Constitution, that is not something that is legal, right? They're going to have to give them bail, I think. So I'll catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV, and we're still overjoyed. And thanks again to the Privy Council for seeing what we've been saying for many years now. I'm out. Peace. Alright, my SouFLoTV audience, anybody who knows me knows that I come from the rural parts of Jamaica where it's dark in those hills. And from I was a child until now, government still has not installed any street lights in some of the darkest corners of Jamaica. But guess what? We are doing it for ourselves. Just link up with SouNinka Limited, because these solar powered street lights are powerful. They are commercial grade, remote controlled, they are waterproof, and did I mention that they are solar powered? So you don't have to wait on JPS, you don't have a bill to pay. These are powered by God's Son. Yes, and you stay on the ground and you remote control it to the brightness of your liking and all these things. Light up your lanes and streets and farms and corners and areas and be safe. All the information needed is on the screen, and SouNinka deals with your installation and everything. Call them right now and get yourself out of the darkness and into the light, and tell them that SouFLoTV sent you. All right.